These rousing speeches have us going up, up, and away on a high note. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 superhero movie ending speeches. For this list, we'll be looking at the monologues and other speeches that occur at the end or near the end of superhero films. Because these take place at the end of films, there may be some spoilers ahead.
Till next time, this is your friendly neighborhood pool guy singing, "I'm never gonna dance again."
Number 10, Call Me the Punisher. The Punisher. After his family is murdered, Frank Castle vows revenge on the mafia family responsible. Castle spends a majority of the film plotting his elaborate vengeance and executing it with grandiose style. Upon achieving his goal, however, Castle is left bereft of meaning and suicidal, but ultimately decides to continue fighting crime from outside the law. While standing on a bridge, he declares the man he was is gone, and that he'll punish the worst that society has to offer as the Punisher.
Those who do evil to others, the killers, the rapists, psychos, sadists, you'll come to know me well.
With this speech, Castle completes his transformation into a hardened vigilante with a singular purpose.
Call me the Punisher.
Number 9, He Was All of Us. V for Vendetta. Upon the death of the freedom fighter and vigilante V, his protege Evie makes good on the promise to blow up Parliament. As a crowd of people dressed like V watch and the 1812 overture soars. When asked who V was, Evie replies that he was everyone who suffered under the oppressive totalitarian regime of Britain. As the crowd doff their masks to reveal the faces of the living and the dead, illustrating the truth in her words and symbolizing the people's reclamation of their freedom and individuality. However, Evie remarks that she'll remember the man, not the symbol he became.
No one will ever forget that night and what it meant for this country. But I will never forget the man and what he meant to me.
Number 8. This was my mission, now, forever. Wonder Woman. Following the conclusion of her reminiscence on her adventures during the First World War, Diana Prince reflects on her journey that her desire to save the world will always be difficult.
I used to want to save the world, to end war and bring peace to mankind.
She believes the biggest obstacle for this is that there's darkness and light inside everyone, and that the battle between them is something that can only be won by love for ourselves and for each other.
And now I know that only love can truly save the world.
The Amazon demigoddess then effectively declares that while fighting for the good in everyone may be difficult, it's her mission and she will always pursue it.
This is my mission now. Forever.
Number 7. What makes a man a man? Hellboy. The titular hero is a demon, supposedly destined to bring out the end of the world. During the film's climax, Hellboy is driven to give in to his purpose in order to save Liz, the woman he loves. However, his young friend Myers reminds him that he can determine his own destiny, which the Big Red protagonist does, even managing to save Liz his own way.
In the dark,
In the closing narration, Myers, in a callback to a line spoken by Hellboy's father figure, Professor Broom, asks,
"What makes a man a man?" A friend of mine once wondered.
It isn't his origin he decides, but rather it's what he decides to do with his life that matters.
It's the choices he makes, not how he starts things, but how he decides to end them.
Number 6. Steve's Letter to Tony. Captain America, Civil War. The third Captain America film sees a rift develop between the Avengers, especially Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, centered around, among other things, the oversight of their actions, leading to a drastic split between many of their members, as well as the imprisonment of some of them.
Tony, I'm glad you're back at the compound. I don't like the idea of you rattling around a mansion by yourself.
At the film's end, Tony receives a letter from Steve expressing regret over the outcome, and as footage shows, Cap breaking the others out of prison, letting Tony know that if the world needs them, he's still willing to work together. Besides giving us insight into Steve's character, the letter also leaves the audience hopeful for the future.
So no matter what, I promise you, If you need us. If you need me. I'll be there.
Number 5, Mutation, X2, X-Men United. The second X-Men film concludes in much the same way that it opened, with narration. But while the opening features a speech by Professor Charles Xavier, its concluding monologue is by the apparently deceased Jean Grey.
Mutation. It is the key to our evolution.
Both discuss mutation and mutants. Professor X raises questions about mutants and their place in the world, which is a theme expanded upon and discussed throughout the movie. Jean, meanwhile, talks about mutation as a process.
This process is slow, normally taking thousands and thousands of years. But every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward.
The shape of a bird appears to form in the lake, causing anyone who'd even heard of Dark Phoenix to get hyped. Although the third film didn't exactly stick the landing, X2's ending still managed to fly high. Number 4, I Am Iron Man, Iron Man. Following the events of the film's climax, Tony Stark holds a press conference meant to deny any speculation that he could be the titular metal-suited hero.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stark, but do you honestly expect us to believe that that was a bodyguard in a suit?
However, when a reporter denies that anyone thinks Tony is a superhero, Tony's pride and ego drives him to admit to being Iron Man.
It is one thing to question the official story and another thing entirely to make wild accusations or insinuate that I'm a superhero.
I never said you were a superhero.
Similar scenes of superheroes denying who they are to the public have happened before. But this scene's subversion of the expectation that Tony would keep his identity a secret helps show that Tony Stark is anything but a typical hero. It makes for a very memorable ending.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Number 3, I Love You 3000, Avengers Endgame. From Tony Stark's origin to his tragic end, the closing monologue from 2019's Avengers Endgame never fails to cause the tears to flow. In one of the film's closing scenes, the Avengers assemble for the last time at Tony's funeral after his unfortunate death in the battle against Thanos. In a quiet moment inside the Stark house, though, close family members and friends watch a hologram of Tony recorded before his death, which features some notably apocalyptic words of wisdom.
Then again, that's the hero gig. Part of the journey is the end.
Just before we think his final words couldn't tug at our heartstrings any harder, he drops the now iconic words,
I love you 3000.
Number 2, Who Am I? Spider-Man. Peter Parker struggles with who he is and what he should do often, but especially in his first film. In the film's final moments, Mary Jane Watson confesses her feelings for him after the funeral of the film's villain.
I love you. I love you so much, Peter.
To protect her, Peter turns her down.
I can't.
As he walks away, he thinks about the immortal words his uncle spoke to him about great power coming with great responsibility, and affirms his identity as Spider-Man.
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
He goes on to prove it by swinging through New York, concluding the movie in a spectacular fashion. Before we get to our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions that'll get your blood pumping or bring a tear to your eye.
Enough ripples, and you change the tide.
I'll take him from here.
For the future is never truly said.
Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever.
You are the light of my life, my precious son, my little Star-Lord.
I'm everyone and no one. Everywhere, nowhere. Call me Darkman.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, A Dark Knight, The Dark Knight. Following Batman and Commissioner Gordon's confrontation with the crazed Harvey Dent, Batman realizes that if Dent's murders and behavior is exposed, then the Joker will have won and all of Dent's good work will have been undone. Instead, he decides to shoulder the blame himself, asking Gordon to have the police pursue him.
I killed those people. That's what I can be. No, you can't. You're not.
As they do, Images of the film's characters wrap up their respective stories, and Gordon explains to his son that while Batman is the hero the city deserves, he's not what it needs at the moment.
Because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now.
Instead, he will remain, well,
a Dark Knight.
Who else still gets goosebumps?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.